We are so excited to be chatting with all of you today and celebrating the launch of the second book in our Fitz and Cleo series, Fitz and Cleo Get Creative.
Yeah, we're so grateful, Stephanie, that you had us and to be able to chat with all of you, and thankful to Malaprops for having us and doing everything that you do in the community and supporting books and authors, illustrators like us. We're happy to be here and to talk about our book and talk about our love of books, our love of comics, and also how we create. As you saw, Fitz and Cleo, this is book 2 of the series. They get creative, this book. Yeah. You want to show the first book?
So this is book 1 right here. So what you will notice about book 2 is that we introduce a lot more characters because Fitz and Cleo do have friends and they like to create things with their friends.
So at the core of the Fitz and Cleo series, which is a graphic novel series for young readers, there's chapters, but they're very small. It's a great starting point for young readers, anyone into comics, which we both love comics as kids. So this is kind of an ode to our love of comics. But in book 1, Fitz and Cleo find their cat, which they name Mr. Boo. So it's about sibling fun and relationships with their cat, Mr. Boo. So that's the first book. But in the second one, we introduce some new characters. But of course, Fitz and Cleo are back and Mr. Boo is back. But we'd love to show you a snippet of some of the stories, if everyone's game for that. And Heather and I will be doing voices and having a good time. These are just a few stories that you'll see in Fitz and Cleo Get Creative. While we get this set up, if you want to run and grab a piece of paper and a crayon, a pen, a pencil, anyone who wants to draw along, because Heather's going to show you how to draw some characters after we do that. So this is a great time to run and get that now. But we are going to get going and read some stories.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Let's get set up.
Just bear with us as we switch. All right. Here we go. All right, I'll just give a few seconds for you to get back if you were out getting your creative supplies. Heather and I love to be creative, and this is kind of our ode to the fun that we have as we create, and we love creating together too, just like Fitz and Cleo do. So here we go. This is one of the stories in Fitz and Cleo Get Creative. So every time you see like a little title, like this is the beginning of a new chapter. So this one is called The Art of Revenge.
Dun, dun, dun.
As you see there, anyone new to the series, you can see Cleo there, she's painting. We got Fitz, he's not too sure about that with the hat. And then Mr. Boo is down there, the cat with the paintbrush. Here we go. The Art of Revenge. Swish, 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 swish.
Almost.
Meow.
Done.
What are you doing?
Painting. Voila! The distinguished Baron Von Boo.
It's great. A little weird, but great.
Will you be my next model, Fitz? Pretty please.
I don't know. I'm not really the model type. Or am I? Cleo needs a real model. No offense, Boo.
Doesn't look too pleased.
He doesn't. I'm ready. Oh, you went too far.
Go. Oh, Mr. Boo, you want to paint too?
He's a cat. Cats can't paint. Swish, 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 swish. Swish, 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 swish.
Oh my goodness. Look how talented he is.
I can't believe it.
I'm so proud of you.
A painting cat? We're going to be rich. Can you paint me, Boo? Swish, 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 swish. Technically, we don't know if that's actually me. Swish, 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 swish.
It is Fitz.
We put the name on there.
There is probably a lesson here.
Never be rude to adorable artistic barons. Meow. So there is the first little chapter in our book. Now we mentioned that there's new friends. These friends didn't appear in book 1, but they're here in book 2 and will be in book 3. We have the little wolf boy you can see in the red shirt. His name is Munch. And then we have Stasha, the vampire girl. And then we have Dougie, the little fish boy down there. You'll see them pop up in this story, which is called Casting Call, Star Princess. Looking for actors, no experience required. So in this story, Fitz and Cleo are ready to make a movie and they need actors. So they're having auditions for the actors in their casting call.
Hello, friends. So excited all of you came out for our casting call.
Before we begin, any questions? What's a casting call? It's why we're all here.
We wrote a movie script and all of you are here to try out for a part in that movie. Okay, let's begin.
Show us what you got. Go. Can you close your eyes? I'm at my best when others can't see me.
No. Read the script, Munch. Don't eat the script.
Look, the line is zombies, run.
Why would I run from zombies? I'm not afraid of anything.
It's called acting. We need actors. Meow, meow, meow.
Bravo, Mr. Boo, my little actor.
I want to wipe this entire day from my memory. Okay, I'll close my eyes instead. That's better. This is better.
Nothing like movie magic, eh, Fitz?
Can someone read me my line? As you see, the casting call did not go very well, but don't worry, there's more stories later in the book about making a movie, and I think it gets better from there.
Do you think they cast everyone correctly?
I think they probably did a good job.
Yeah?
But we'll wait for you to see. But next, we have another story called Reign of Terror. It sounds spooky, but it isn't.
Yes.
Shh.
What do we need, Mr. Boo? Oh, a beautiful golden sun. A rainbow? A field of wildflowers on a windswept hillside. The thunder of ancient steel clashing on the battlefield. This is turning out pretty good, isn't it, Boo? Another dragon? Good idea. We can always use more dragons. Besides, the reign of dragons is nigh.
Oh. That's really good chalk art.
It is. Cleo did a great job.
Is anyone else out there a fan of drawing on chalk with sidewalks? Do you see your art look like that?
What was that?
Plop. Cleo, those are nimbostratus clouds. That means rain is coming. Your chalk art will be washed away.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
That's one of the worst things for chalk art, isn't it, Heather?
It is.
Rain. What will Cleo do?
With the powers of the northern winds, I decree that you bimbostratus,
Nimbostratus.
nimbostratus clouds will not drop another drop of rain on my art. Not today, nor for generations after me. My art will live on. I, Cleo the Fabulous, summon the protection spell of all that is good and just. Oh.
I don't know why, but for a second, I thought that was going to work. I'm sorry about your chalk art, Cleo.
It's okay, Fitz. Art that beautiful is not meant for this world. It's raining right now, too. We summoned the rain with the spell.
All right, those were 3 stories in, oh, there we go. Sorry about that.
We good?
Yeah,
All right.
those were 3 stories in Fitz and Cleo Get Creative. As you see, there was lots of different ways that Fitz and Cleo were getting creative. What were some of those ways, Heather?
So making movies, or deciding to make a movie and then deciding to cast a group of friends. Making chalk art. What was the other one?
Painting. Yeah.
Painting.
So there's lots of ways to be creative, and there's many more ways that Fitz and Cleo and Mr. Boo and their friends get creative in the new book. Those are just some of the ways. I wonder, maybe in the chat, you can say what some of your favorite ways of being creative are.
Because there's so many different ways to be creative. I don't know if you have other things that are creative that you like to do besides coming up with books and writing.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
I love making movies. I went to school for making movies. So that's one of the reasons why I put the movie stories in these books, because I love making them. Maybe some of you have tried making them with your phone or a video camera. There's lots of ways to make movies now, which is really cool.
Did you face frustrations with casting calls?
Oh, I did. It's very hard to find the right people for the right roles. And it's very frustrating. As you can see, there's a lot of frustrations with all the creation that Fitz and Cleo go through. Even when you make something beautiful, sometimes it gets ruined.
Yep.
Maybe the rain comes down and washes your chalk away. Maybe your dog eats your prize drawing that you drew. There's lots of ways for creations to get ruined, but it's still fun to make.
It is fun.
Even when things go wrong.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anything go wrong when we make books? Does everything go perfectly?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think anything ever goes perfectly.
No, we make so many mistakes when we're creating ourselves. So that's just a reminder for anyone who might create out there it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay when things go wrong. In the end, you'll see that the best part of making things is often getting to make something with someone else. And that's something that we love about making books together.
Definitely.
As you see there, my name's on there and Heather's name's on there. We made this book together. I wrote all the words, but I didn't draw the pictures. You drew the pictures, Heather.
I drew all the pictures.
So creating is often such a collaboration. It takes a team in order to make something.
Yeah. So maybe we should do some drawing.
Oh, that would be great.
All right. So normally I have a pad of paper and some markers or some pencils and crayons, but I think it is appropriate that I use my iPad today because that is actually how I drew all of the pictures
in the book. So as you can see, all of the pictures in here and in the new one over there that Jonathan has, all of these were created right here. And I don't know if anyone out there is familiar with digital art, but you have this nifty little pencil. It's called an Apple Pencil, and it works just like a normal pencil, and it allows you to draw right on your screen, which is really cool. So I thought I would show all of you how to draw Fitz and Cleo. And then I think we might get a little bit creative with it and do some fun little prompts. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Jonathan is ready. So the nice thing about drawing Fitz and Cleo is that they are the same shape. So if you learn how to draw Fitz, you can learn how to draw Cleo and vice versa. So we're going to start with that shape. And I'm going to draw it here, and then I'm going to show you there. So we're going to do it step by step. That way you can get it. All right, so we're going to draw a ghost shape. I'm going to draw that big on my screen here. And let all of you see. There's our ghost shape. You can see it has 4 little lumps on the bottom, and that is the same for Fitz and Cleo. Now, you might notice the difference between Fitz and Cleo. Cleo likes to wear a big purple bow on her head, and Fitz prefers the cap, much like Jonathan prefers to wear a baseball cap on his head. So here we go. We're going to draw the eyes, and then we're going to figure out which one we're going to draw next. So for the eyes, we draw 2 ovals, just like that. And then we're going to draw a smile, which is just a curved line right between the eyes. And there we go. So what do you think? Fitz or Cleo?
Let's go with Cleo.
Cleo? All right. So Cleo, gotta get that signature bow. So to start with that bow, draw a circle right on the top of her head. All right, now we're gonna draw the bow. It almost looks like a heart shape. I'll just do one side so you can see the heart connected to the circle. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And now we have a big bow. And now a detail that I like to add on the bow are these little lines, just to give it a little bit of volume. And you can see how bodacious that bow is. Just like that. All right, and now Cleo needs some arms, which are very simple to draw. They are just big, elongated U's. And we're gonna draw her waving. Or you know what? She's gonna be holding a flower because spring is coming. So draw another U shape connected to the body. And let's give I can't speak. Cleo a flower. So let's draw a curved line, and then you can make a little heart shape out of leaves. And we're gonna draw a tulip. So draw a curved letter U shape, and then we're gonna draw a bunch of little zigzags on the top. And there you go. That is Cleo. Now we are going to draw Fitz. Now you should be pros by this point, and you can do all the steps, probably 1 through 3 by this point, but I'm gonna do a refresher just so you have it. So we're gonna draw that body shape. Remember, we do 4 loops on the bottom, just like that. Let's draw some eyes. Actually, we're gonna do something different this time. We're gonna draw Fitz's hat. So for Fitz's hat, we are gonna draw a curved line from the top of his head. And then we're gonna loop it back and connect it, just like that. And with that brim of the hat, we're gonna fill it in like so. And let's see if I can draw this. Let's connect it so that it overlaps like so. And now I'm gonna draw a circle on the top of Fitz's head. And we're gonna draw 2 curved lines down from that circle. Like so. And that is Fitz's signature hat. All right, now we're gonna draw his glasses, and then we're gonna put the eyes inside the glasses. I find that that's easier. So we're gonna draw a circle, one big circle, and overlap it with Fitz's body. And we're gonna draw another circle next to that, like so. And then you can connect those with an upside down U shape, like that. And then from the end of this circle, we're gonna draw a hook, just like a fish hook. Now Fitz has glasses. All right, now that we have that shape, we're gonna put 2 ovals, one in each of those circles, like so. And the same as Cleo, we're gonna give him a smile. So you can draw a curved line between his eyes. And we're almost done. We just have to give Fitz some arms. So we're gonna do one arm, that upside down, or not upside down, elongated U shape. And we're gonna have Fitz waving. So we're gonna draw another curved shape, just like that. And the way that I show that somebody is waving is I draw little accent lines. So you can just draw 2 curved lines right next to his arm. And there you have it. Now you are experts at drawing Fitz and Cleo. Now I thought we would have a little bit of fun, and I might need Jonathan for this part, because he is going to feed in some answers for me, because I'm going to ask you for some help. Are you ready, Jonathan?
I'm ready.
So, what are we going to draw?
Well, I think it would be fun to, since I like hats, there is a part in the new book where Fitz is trying on new hats because he's trying to find the best hat to be creative. This is one of my favorite hats, as you can see. It's a nice blue color. So maybe it would be fun if we draw some silly hats for Fitz.
That would be fun.
So maybe you could draw a silly hat, but anyone else at home could also draw their own silly hat for Fitz.
That's a really good idea. Yeah. How silly of a hat are we talking?
I don't know. I guess that's up to anyone.
Do we have any suggestions of what kind of hat Fitz would likely wear or consider for his next hat?
That would be great.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll with it. I'm gonna get started by drawing Fitz's body. So maybe we'll have some comments.
I cannot see any comments on YouTube. They're turned off. So
We will read the minds of the
let me
watchers.
see if I can. Oh, we have a sombrero.
A sombrero.
That would be really fun.
That is a good one.
I'm excited to
I don't
see
know
your
if I've
sombrero.
ever drawn a
sombrero.
sombrero before. All right, sombrero hat. Those are pretty big, right?
They're pretty big, much bigger than what I'm wearing.
Yeah. All right. And we were just at Disney World, and I saw some big sombreros there.
Oh, it's looking good. Show them what you have. So
Okay,
far.
so I drew Fitz's body, and then I drew what kind of looks like a ski on the top of Fitz's head, if you can see. So far, so good, I guess. Now I can't think of the shape of it. It's not a cowboy hat. It's more like a dome.
Oh, nice.
Egg head. Looks like an egg. You know what? I think there needs to be something hanging from this hat. It just
Like little
seems right.
dangly-
What is one of Fitz's favorite things? You can see it on your hat.
He loves stars.
He loves stars and he
space.
loves space. So I think if Fitz had a sombrero, he would hang stars from the big brim. I don't know. What do you all think? I think that's a good idea. And maybe add some stripes.
A cowboy hat would also
A
be.
cowboy hat is a good idea. So here is Fitz's sombrero. I gave it stripes and I hung stars from it because I think he would like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Thanks.
I think I need a star sombrero to help me write better than I do.
Yes. Did someone say cowboy hat?
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Cowboy
maybe
hats.
Cleo wants to wear a cowboy hat.
Cleo probably would wear a cowboy
Yeah.
hat.
She's a little more adventurous than Fitz.
Yeah. All right. Cleo with a cowboy hat. And if you want to draw a really crazy new type of hat that doesn't even exist yet, you should do it and then you should show us. You can tag us on social media. Should be really fun to see all of your funky creative hats. All right, so we got Cleo. The thing with Cleo is that normally when she wears some type of hat, the bow still ends up on the hat. It finds a way. So we have Cleo. We've got a cowboy hat. I'll show you my progress. So here is my cowboy hat for now. And I think I'm gonna add a bow sitting right on the brim. I think
That's really cool.
fits her pretty well. There's Cleo's bow.
The thing about drawing, which is so cool, is you can draw anything you want, right?
Yeah, as long as it pops up into your head, you can draw it, which is really cool. So let me think of a really crazy thing that I could put on Fitz's head.
Well, we know Mr. Boo loves to sleep on Fitz's head, which he does not like.
That is true.
If you read book 1, that's something he does not like. But we never know what will end up on Fitz's head, because in this book there's paint that does. I think Mr. Boo finds a way to get up there again. Let's see what Heather is drawing. Oh, that looks really good.
So I thought this was a good idea because today is Fitz and Cleo's book birthday. So does anybody know what kind of thing I might be drawing on Fitz's head?
What is something that happened? What do you bring out on birthdays? That might give you a hint. This is really good. And again, if you drew Fitz and Cleo along with Heather and you want to share your art with us, or if you drew any silly hats for Fitz and Cleo, please tag us and tag Malaprops so that we can all see your great art. We love when other people are creative. And one of the things that inspired us when we were young is we would read a bunch of books that we loved, and we would try to draw those characters and take them on our own adventures. So if you're going to take Fitz and Cleo on adventures, Mr. Boo or any of their friends, and you're drawing them, please tag us so that we can see it, because it would make us so happy.
All right, are you ready to see it?
Ooh, that's awesome. Yep, that's
All
really
right.
cool.
And actually, I kind of want this as a hat now. All right, so here we go. Fitz's hat. It's a giant birthday cake. And I put 2 candles because today is the release of book 2. And there we have it.
I love it. I hope you save that, because
I will
it's
save
really
it for
cool.
sure. Now I need to figure out how I can get a cake to sit on my head.
Yeah, without
Yeah.
me eating it.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
everyone at home, if you want to give Heather a round of applause for her amazing drawing.
And I can't wait to see all of your drawings because now you all know how to draw Fitz and Cleo. And yeah, possibilities are endless.
Can we give them
Absolutely.
a round of applause? Yes.
Absolutely.
Whether you drew along with us or you will draw down the road or be creative in so many other ways, that applause was for you because creativity is one of the coolest things I think you could do. It's very human. It's so fun to share what you create with other people, but it's also so wonderful to create with other people, with your friends, with your family, with a team. It's so much fun.
It's true. It would not be as fun to make books if we knew nobody was going to read them.
Yeah.
It's much more fun to make a book and to share it with everybody else.
Because we make the book for ourselves a little bit, but we are also making it for all of you to read it, like Heather said.
Yeah.
We don't just make things and hide them away. And you can do that too. It's fun just to make for yourself. Even if you don't want anyone to see it, it's still fun to do that. But part of the fun is also sharing it with other people. So we're glad that all of you got to share some of our books. And I hope you like them. Heather, what other books do we have? Because that cake reminded me of a character from one of our other books that you might know.
That's true. There is a character that really likes to eat cake. It's one of its favorite things. So we have Llama Destroys the World right here. How does Llama destroy the world?
Well, let's just say there's cake involved and dancing pants and cha-chaing.
Yeah.
And things kind of go out of hand. And
Yes.
Llama has a sequel.
Llama does have a sequel. We have Llama Unleashes the Alpacalypse, which does not have cake, but has one of our other favorite foods, which is pizza. Pizza.
So he really likes food, just like we do.
Yeah.
And I heard that there's a third Llama book coming.
There is going to be a third Llama book, which comes out this year. And that involves another one of our favorite foods. Surprise, surprise, which is one of Jonathan's
Yes, one of my
favorite
favorites.
foods.
Donuts. I love donuts. And so does Llama, apparently.
Yeah.
So that's one of the fun things about making books is, we even have a little friend here. Mary Maker's made this wonderful Llama plushie. You can see his dancing pants right there, which is awesome. We put a lot of, when we're creating, I think most times when someone creates, they're creating with their own interests involved in what they're doing. So a lot of what we put into our books, even though we're adults, we're making kids' books, all the things that we enjoy and have fun with, we're still putting into our books. Even Fitz and Cleo, those characters, so much of us is in those characters. So much of us is in our other characters like Llama and Alpaca and our other books. So it's just really fun to put our interests and things we like into books. Speaking of that, Don't Feed the Coos is one of the books Heather and I made together. It's about a girl who accidentally feeds coos, which are pigeons, and a bunch of them follow her home. Where I didn't have any pigeons follow me home, but it is based on a true event in my life. When I was in Spain, I started feeding a few pigeons in the park in Madrid, and a bunch of pigeons, by a bunch, I mean like a ton, maybe 100, a very, very big flock. And they surrounded me and they were like getting on me, and it was.
Were you scared?
I was very scared. So, but it was a fun experience once I got out, and there was nothing wrong because all they wanted was the food. But that was based on a personal experience too. Do you have any experiences that you put into maybe Fitz and Cleo?
Ooh, well, I did a lot of chalk art growing up. Lots of chalk art with my sisters. And what else do we have in Fitz and Cleo? We have.
Well, I was just going to show the chalk art again because that's one of my favorite. I love this story. The art is so fun and colorful.
Yeah, so chalk art was definitely one of my favorite things to do.
And do you like dragons? Like Cleo likes dragons?
Dragons are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like dragons.
You can
Cleo
see.
Cleo is a collector of medieval weaponry.
And you have a sword, or
Yeah.
a sword or two, right?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun little things. But yeah, and we do have another Fitz and Cleo book coming out too.
Oh yes,
So
we
there
do.
will be more Fitz and Cleo. But should we turn this over and answer some questions?
Yeah, that would be great. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Stephanie is going to help us with that. If you have any questions specifically for Heather or for me or about Fitz and Cleo or other books, just please fire away. We would love to answer anything. I have a question for you to get us started though.
Oh, okay.
Do you have a favorite friend character to draw? Out of the new friends that are in Fitz and Cleo, we have Stasha, Munch, and we got Dougie. Which one of those is your favorite to draw?
I like to draw Dougie. Dougie is
Dougie's
a funny character who kind of is the shape of a potato. He's very fun to draw.
There's Dougie right there. He's a really silly guy.
He is very silly. All right. Are we ready?
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say how amazing the reading was and how wonderful it was to watch you draw, Heather,
Thanks.
and help us draw. I don't draw, but I'll go ahead and admit that I was drawing along and was able to approximate Fitz and Cleo. Fitz in particular, when I drew him, looked slightly a little more demented, but it was okay. So thank you for that, because that was really fun. It brought to mind when I was a kid, and what we used to copy were Garfield and Odie, because they were pretty easy to draw, right? Like you could just put shapes together and make the characters. And so that was my little flashback. So thank you for that. That was just super fun. Remembering chalk art, all of that stuff. So thank you. And I have a couple of questions, but I want to start with an audience question from Antoine, who says, what's your favorite graphic novel to read as mentor text? Which is kind of a deep term, but yeah, what inspires you? Yeah.
Hello, Antoine. I think this is Antoine Eady, which he's an amazing writer himself. Thanks for joining us and for the question. Do you want to start off?
Well, I think you should go.
Okay.
I know what yours is.
Yeah, so definitely some of the comics that I mentioned, even though they're a lot older, and Garfield's actually included in those. I love Garfield as a kid. So some of the early comics that I grew up with, I still reread. Peanuts, The Far Side, Garfield, Calvin and Hobbes. And then for something more like current that I read and I just absolutely love is Narwhal and Jelly. That's by Ben Clinton. So those definitely all trying to find a formula within all those things to create Fitz and Cleo. There's a little bit of each of them that inspired me when I was writing. What about you for art?
Yeah, so for me, I grew up reading the Captain Underpants books. I also grew up reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which I always thought they were such funny books. So I looked to those a lot for inspiration as I made illustrations for this book. But also Garfield, Calvin and Hobbes. You just can't go wrong with those. They're such classics.
And I know at least for character design for you, there's a certain TV show that inspired you throughout your life and into
SpongeBob.
Yeah.
I grew up watching a lot of SpongeBob, so very expressive characters with very big eyes. Yep, some of my favorites.
Very cool. So my first question comes again from my having some childhood memories as listening to you talk. So I, as a kid, loved to watch horror movies on the weekends and started watching them really before I should have probably. But we had one of those wonderful horror movie hosts in the on the TV station that was in the big town a little bit away. His name was Dr. Paul Bearer. And yep. And it was amazing. And he would lip sync to Poisoning Pigeons in the Park by Tom Lehrer at the opening of the show. For any actual kids out there who have no idea what I'm talking about, I apologize. But people of a certain age will, maybe catch on. So, but anyway, so I loved watching old horror movies on the weekend from the time I was really young. So that is just to preface how much I love that these characters are what we might normally refer to as monsters, right? Fitz and Cleo and their new friends. But of course they aren't. They're amazing and adorable. And so I just wanted to ask you why that was your choice, to have these awesome, relatable characters that are what we might consider to be scary in other, what we've been trained to consider scary.
Yeah, I guess probably more me than you. I definitely love the old horror, like specifically a lot of the old like black and white kind of Frankenstein, Nosferatu, and the Thing from the Black Lagoon and stuff like that. I grew up watching a lot of those, and I just really like paranormal things and stories. And one of my favorite things to read besides comics as a kid was like mysteries of the unexplained type books, where it was just like, this person levitated in 1800, and it's like old newspaper articles, and giant hairy creature was spotted running through the woods. Could it be Bigfoot, or was it just a wild man? There's something like so fun about those sorts of things. And I was like, oh, it would be really fun to populate a world like Peanuts or Calvin and Hobbes, but it's just like monster creatures. We both love Monsters Inc. and Monsters University, and there's something so fun about seeing those characters that would normally be scary not be scary and be silly and goofy and have human characteristics and human problems. And so I think we just went with that and thought it'd be a really fun opportunity for mixing fun visuals with character and humor. So yeah. Well,
I love that, and thank you. Like I say, also a big fan of the old monster movies and Monsters Inc. and particularly appreciate again sort of flipping our expectations on their heads, right? Because I feel like it actually says something kind of important about assuming things based on the way anybody looks, right? So anyway. They're wonderful characters. So glad to see the new friends who are more amazing little monsters as well, which is very great. I was always a big fan of the like Lon Chaney Wolfman, for instance, with the furry face.
And a fun anecdote. I don't know if any of my film fans out there, if you know who Doug Jones is. He plays all the monsters in Guillermo del Toro films, which are some of my favorite films. And I've kind of grown to know him a little bit, have like an online friendship. So we actually snuck him into the book as Dougie, the Fishman, because Doug Jones has played multiple Fishmen. The Shape of Water, which won an Academy Award, he was like a Fishman creature, and then he was in the Hellboy movies as Abe Sapien. So
this is probably one of the cuter forms.
Yeah, probably one of the cuter forms that he's ever taken as a monster. But yeah. So that's a fun film reference to any film fans out there who might know Doug Jones, the man of monsters.
I'm really there for it. I am a fan of Doug Jones and his work, and I think he's one of those people who's underknown because you so often don't see his face. But he's a brilliant actor, and not just physically, like, and so I'm jealous that you know him. That's awesome.
But it's funny you said that he's known for not being seen. There's the inside joke when they're doing the casting call where Dougie's like, I do my best work when I'm not seen. And so that's that's so like on a different level.
I
It
didn't
worked-
even realize
it
that.
works
I was
in the
like,
scene,
oh,
but
wow.
it's a joke for that too. So
Just blew my mind a little bit.
That is so perfect.
no,
And-
tips.
No.
Hopefully they're not watching Guillermo del Toro movies at a young age.
right, those, yeah, those are a little intense. If you're out there, we love you, Doug. So I wanted to ask a question about, again, so pleased to see you draw, Heather. I wanted to ask if you two could just take a few minutes to talk about how your process works in terms of when the words come, when the pictures come, how you go back and forth, if there's one first and then the other, how long it all sort of takes to put everything together.
Yeah, definitely. So Jonathan has a little bit of experience with sketching in like the first run of things, because when he is writing, he is often thinking in panels. And though he does not consider himself an artist, he does these little sketches. So he gives those to me when I go and do my final art. And so I have a little bit of a reference and what I think that he's thinking. So so when I get the manuscript, I have the whole thing generally, or else I'll just have, because it's a collection of short stories. So I'll get like a story and maybe I'll work on one and then I'll get the other ones later. But a fun thing about Fitz and Cleo is that I do all of the text and I handwrite it. So I feel like that helps me a lot when I'm making the art, because while I'm drawing the characters, I'm also sketching out the words as I go, which is very helpful. I don't have to guess where it's going to go later. It sort of all just comes together at one time. So that is what I do for that. And like I said, I work with my iPad. The sketches and the final art, which takes a few passes because the text changes. And sometimes Jonathan likes to put too much text in one box. So I have to be like, hey, we got to cut it down. It's not going to fit in the format. So there is some back and forth, but I think maybe it takes like 2 or 3 months when I have the final text.
I was just gonna say that you brushed off writing the text like it was nothing, like writing all the dialogue with your hands. Look how much dialogue is in some of these scenes. She does all of that by hand, and then she also does all like just the written stuff on the titles by hand. If I would do that myself, you wouldn't be able to read anything because it's just so messy. So that, like, she does that plus all the art and the coloring, which takes a lot of time, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
How much time does it take?
It probably takes around 3 months
Yeah.
for the whole thing, but it's not that bad. I feel like it's quicker than some people's processes, but yeah, it definitely helps that I have you to help me. And sometimes I'll be like, hey, the scene isn't working, and I play editor and we go back and we try and figure out like a new dialogue or a new sort of layout for the scene. So yeah,
one of the great things about like picture books is that you have like either a scene or an image, and I feel like it's the text and the image play so well together, but it's much simpler than like a graphic novel where you have so many panels, then which is nice because you can work a lot of visual humor in there, but it's harder to find pacing, I think, with so many images going on and more text, and I often don't make that easy for Heather because I'm a little too verbose sometimes. So she does have to our editors plus Heather has to edit sometimes the text to find that pacing and the right comic timing, which is kind of like filming too. Like when you're making a movie, you have certain shots that go with each other and you want to shorten them up to make the jokes land better. And so it takes some time probably.
it does.
With me getting you all that extra stuff that you have to edit yourself.
So it's really fun because these books are, I think, a lot more of a close collaboration than our picture books are. Normally with our picture books, I get the manuscript and I sketch and I do all the final art, usually without too much of you seeing the whole thing. Whereas Jonathan already knows sort of how this is going to look before I do the final art, and he's helping me, and we're helping each other through that process, which is really cool.
And we get a lot of great ideas that come from that too, because Heather's like, this sentence is too long. It's not going to work in the panels that we have to work with. And then it'll like force me to think of a shorter, more succinct punchline to the joke. And a lot of times it's so much better. So it's great when you get to, I've mentioned it a couple times tonight. It's like so fun to work with other people to make things. I grew up making movies with groups of people, and now I get to make books with Heather, and we have a whole team at Macmillan and First Edition, just like working with us to make the book the best we can make it. And it's so thrilling when things work and make kids laugh and bring joy to them, because it's hard to make art. It's hard to write stories.
Well, thank you for making your art and writing your stories. They're delightful, and not just for kids. I don't think. Really fun, and it's wonderful to hear you talk about not just enjoying being creative, but as you were just saying, about collaborating and working with other people. It's wonderful to be able to do that. And it's a great lesson to learn in life, to learn how to work with other people. So I think that's awesome. Yeah. It's been great to hear from you too this evening. Congratulations again on Fitz and Cleo Get Creative. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit of the book with us and about how you do what you do. And this has just been really fun. And pardon me for sharing too much about my love of horror movies and fangirling out on Doug Jones.
No problem. Just like making books, these kinds of things are collaborative, and it's so nice to talk with you, Stephanie, and thank you and Malaprops for having us and being able to share. Thanks for everyone who tuned in or who will watch at a later date. And since the book did just come out, Fitz and Cleo Get Creative, thank you to our First Second team and our Macmillan Kids team for the help in making this, and to Elena, our agent. It's such a delight to be able to make comics for kids, and it's a dream come true, because both Heather and I wanted to be comic creators from like really young age. What age was it for you?
I was definitely in elementary school. I think it was either somewhere between 3rd and 5th grade.
So we're very grateful to be able to make these cute little stories about Fitz and Cleo, Mr. Boo, and their friends, and we hope all of you enjoy them if you get a hold of them.
And we will be stopping by Malaprop's bookstore tomorrow to sign books. If anybody wanted to order any of our books, we'd be happy to sign them and personalize for you. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. We're so lucky that you're in the area and can stop in. So we hope some folks take advantage of that amazing opportunity. We still have time. And I did have one more question. We're at the top of the hour, but I was wondering if there's a real life Mr. Boo who is a little furry friend. I know you're traveling, so you can't do the thing that Zoom does allow you to do, which is to actually introduce your companion animals live. But I imagine if there is one, you probably didn't bring them on the trip.
Well, it is inspired by, Mr. Boo's a little inspired by my sister's dear cat. But we don't have a cat ourselves, but we do have a furry friend ourselves. Do you want to talk about him?
Yeah, we haven't seen him for like a week. So
It's
we
very
miss him
sad.
pretty much,
Yeah.
but we have a little Frenchie named Hugo, and he's a cuddle bug.
Yeah. So he has some of the characteristics of Mr. Boo, but I feel like he's not as mischievous as a cat would be, like my sister's cat. So.
And there is one scene in in book 1 inspired by a moment that Jonathan had with that cat.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was attacked by my sister's cat, running around the house screaming as a grown adult, with a cat with no claws. Just I ended up on the sofa with it jumping up. So it was a pretty frightening experience until I realized that the cat could do me no harm. So yeah, that's a scene in Fitz and Cleo, book 1. So we definitely put a lot of ourselves into these books.
we do.
Yeah, and I hope you like them.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much again. And we'll look forward to the next one now that we know that it's on the way. And I'll say thanks again to everybody who's been with us, or whenever you're watching. We appreciate you. And Jonathan and Heather, thank you. And hope everyone has a great evening. It is night now, technically, I think. And please stay safe and well. Good night, everybody.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.